They say the woods outside Hollow Creek used to hum at night. Not with animals or wind, but something lower, like a voice buried deep under the frost. For most of the year, the place was nothing but quiet farmland and snow-slushed roads, the kind of town you pass through once and forget. But if you drive 12 kilometers past the last gas station, you'll find an old bridge, rusted rails, one lane, built before the war. Locals call it the Hollow Bridge, and they'll tell you, don't stop on it after dark. In November 1998, a snowplow driver named Mark Leduc didn't listen. He was clearing the county roads during the first storm of the season. Visibility was zero. At around 2:40 a.m., he radioed in, saying he'd reached the bridge and would be taking a quick pause. The next morning, his plow was found parked neatly in the middle of it. Engine running, lights on, driver's door open. No sign of Mark. Search teams spent 3 days combing the frozen creek below, thinking he might have slipped and fallen, but the ice was unbroken. He was never found. For years, it was just a story the locals told to scare the teenagers, a good ghost legend for a boring town. But in 2021, Hollow Creek made headlines again. That winter, a young man named Ryan Wolf came to the area to film a documentary on haunted places in Canada. He'd heard the story of the missing plow driver and wanted to investigate.
He interviewed the old sheriff, checked the county logs, even tracked down Mark's sister in Ottawa. The footage is still online. Everything was fine until his third night of filming. The camera shows him standing on the bridge. It's snowing, pitch black except for the beam of his flashlight. His breath fogs in the cold as he talks to the camera. Locals say if you stop here and turn off your lights, you'll hear the hum. Same one Mark Leduc mentioned in his logbook before he vanished. He smiles nervously. So yeah, I'm gonna try it. He cuts the engine, kills the headlights. The screen goes almost completely dark, except for the red glow of the camera light. For 30 seconds, there's nothing but silence. Then, faintly, a low, vibrating hum. It's not the wind. It's deeper, like a massive engine idling somewhere below the ice. Ryan whispers, "What is that?" The hum grows louder. The bridge begins to tremble. His camera jerks downward. There's a flash of movement, something under the bridge, gliding through the fog like a shadow just below the surface. Then the camera tilts again, and you can hear him shout, "There's someone!" Static.
They found his rental car 2 days later. It was parked on the shoulder, 50 feet from the bridge. His camera was still inside. Ryan wasn't. The authorities wrote it off as a case of exposure, said he probably slipped into the river and got carried away by the current, but the creek was frozen solid. No cracks, no current. The RCMP divers never found a body. 2 weeks after the search ended, Mark Leduc's sister received a letter. No return address. Inside was a single Polaroid photograph. It showed the Hollow Bridge at night. The image was blurry and overexposed, but you could make out a faint silhouette standing in the middle of the road, facing the camera, head tilted slightly to the side. At the bottom, scrawled in shaky handwriting, were 3 words: "You stopped, too." They say the bridge hums louder every winter now. Truckers passing through refuse to cross it unless the sun's up. The county has tried to demolish it twice, once in 2011, again in 2018, but both times the machinery broke down before reaching the site. And if you stand near the guardrails in the cold silence of January, you can feel it. A faint vibration beneath your feet, pulsing in the metal like a heartbeat. Some say it's the wind trapped in the hollow beams. Others say it's the engine of the plow, still running somewhere just beneath the ice. But the old sheriff, the one who led both searches, still lives nearby. When people ask him what happened, he just shakes his head and says, "The bridge remembers who stops." If you ever find yourself driving through Hollow Creek and see that old one-lane bridge, keep your lights on and don't stop. Not even for a second. This is Noxmoor Tales. Subscribe for more stories buried in the dark corners of the map.